This is Crystal Lake, Illinois, a fairly large suburb northwest of the city of Chicago. This is Bernodis Middle School, where I teach. And this is my classroom. Notice there's nothing much on the walls yet because I took this at the very beginning of the school year. There's 30 desks, a lot of wall space. It's a pretty great place to teach. One of the most challenging lessons to teach my 8th graders is that of verb conjugation. It's a concept they use on a daily basis in English, but rarely does it receive any conscious attention. In the past, my teammate and I have used fairly old school methods to teach the lesson, using very text-based materials such as this extremely boring chart. Verbs are divided by the pronoun, or the who, of verb conjugation, and have the appropriate endings in a lovely different color. The largest part of my lesson redesign was to figure out a way to make that boring verb chart into something more visually appealing while increasing student comprehension of the concept. My teammate and I came up with this graphic organizer. Notice how it is obvious that each ending applies to the verb type listed at the top. We used arrows to indicate that the pronouns listed directly apply to the endings in the boxes at the bottom of the chart. Each ending comes in, as well as an example of the ending used properly in a conjugated verb. The brackets at the bottom indicate how many people are being talked about. The cool blue color with the warmer text where it's important may help some students comprehend the concept better, according to Burmark, our textbook author. After all that information, the students get a 3-minute brain break. Of course, there's information included as well.
Conjugation, an arrangement of the inflectional forms of a verb, the act of conjugating, the state of being conjugated.
I'm bringing conjugations back. Infinitives just don't cut it, jack. Take off the ending and put something back. But what you add has to match those subjects. Those verbs, babe, they ain't worth much unless you conjugate. What type of verb should we work with today? I think an AR verb will be okay. First step, drop your ending, put an O on it, put a S on it, put an A on it, put an amos on it, put an ice on it, put a N on it. Conjugate your verbs. Get your conjugation on. 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 I'm bringing conjugations back, and I'm teaching all the rules you lack. The quiz is coming, better learn it fast. So conjugate these verbs and you'll be glad. Those verbs, babe, they ain't worth much unless you conjugate. What type of verb should we work with today? I think an AR verb will be okay. First step, drop your ending, put an O on it, put a S on it, put an A on it, put an amos on it, put an ice on it, put a N on it. Conjugate your verbs. Get your conjugation on. 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 I'm bringing conjugations back. Infinitives just don't cut it, jack. Take off the ending and put something back. But what you add has to match the subjects.
On day 2 of the lesson, students will begin their authentic practice. We are lucky enough to have access to dozens of digital cameras in the school, so students will use those to take photos of each other, demonstrating all the present tense forms of a verb of their choice. They will then import the images into their cloud-based storage drive and use a free photo editing software such as LunaPic, PhotoFlexer, or Pixlr to add text to each photo. The images, along with the text, will demonstrate that the concept is beginning to sink in. Students will need to demonstrate using their photos, the text, and their actions to show the who and the action occurring in each photo. Shown here are 2 examples using the verb bailar, Spanish for to dance. Notice that the girl in the photo is wearing a t-shirt that says yo. This is not a greeting to the viewer, but rather the pronoun that means I. Typed on the photo itself is the word bailo, which means I dance. This photo shows 3 boys dancing. Since the project is from the perspective of the girl wearing the yo t-shirt, this photo indicates bailan, or they dance, since she is not in the picture. In the past, practice such as this would have been done on a worksheet, and while that's not necessarily a bad thing, using visual literacy to help reinforce the concept in lieu of text-based practice is beneficial to today's students. Finally, after the photo project is completed, students will enter the computer lab or use a laptop to complete a Google Docs survey that I've created for them to show me exactly how much they've learned. The results of the survey will be emailed directly to me, and I will be able to analyze exactly where it is that the students are still having difficulty. We continue practice on this subject for months at a time. However, right at the very beginning is when we can use some RTI type review to help the students truly understand the concept. My hope is that, in the process of taking my verb conjugation lesson from this incredibly boring, not fun, relatively simple chart, to something a bit more fun, like the graphic organizer I've developed, will help my students not only understand the concept a bit better, but will be able to apply it more accurately to the things that we do in class from this point forward. Next thing we know it, they'll be writing stories, paragraphs, possibly even having coherent conversations.